One of the biggest tools for success when it comes to recovering from sugar addiction, binge eating, and really overcoming those patterns is radical self-compassion. And that is a muscle. It is not always easy to be compassionate to ourselves if we have a binge and go eat a bunch of stuff that we know isn't good for our bodies, but it feels like something may have taken over, and it's just like, then that spurs into often a guilt and shame spiral. And so being able to practice radical self-compassion with yourself as you are on this journey and realize that, a mantra I like to use is like, I'm learning every single day. I'm getting better every single day. And to know that life ebbs and flows. So if you are massively stressed out, if you are exhausted, if you are hit with something that's very triggering to your nervous system, food is a way to cope. It can be a tool to cope. And you may have picked that up from your parents, the way they coped with emotions, or you may just have started using food at a really young age when something was really hard and difficult. I've got clients that, food was their safety when they were going through their parents' divorce. For myself, food became a safety very young age. Sugar was just always like something that helped me calm my central nervous system. And so to have self-compassion for yourself, that if you have a binge or if you end up eating something kind of unconsciously, that it doesn't mean everything's ruined or you have to go back to square one. It's like, hey, check in with yourself. What was going on for me? What was, the part of me that was looking to numb or was just like trying to cope? Like if I was looking at my best friend going through this, what would I tell her? And to start really practicing that versus the barrage or the berating of self-criticism, shame, guilt. And sometimes that just comes on because that can be a really addictive pattern, the whole thing, not just the eating the food, but also the addiction of feeling that shame and guilt. And our bodies start producing those hormones and it's like, well, I haven't felt shame and guilt today. Let me create that for myself. And Dr. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about this. You can definitely check him out. He's great when it comes to changing habits. But to recognize for yourself, if you start into that shame and guilt spiral, you can become the observer of that. Oh, I see this part acting out that's like berating me. Can I come back to self-compassion? And sometimes things that help me, I just tap my heart and start to just breathe slowly. And you can say some mantras of, again, I am learning every day. I love myself. I am getting better. Everything is okay. And to just even sometimes I stroke my arms, when something's really difficult or I'm being hard on myself, and it's like, it's okay. Think of if you've ever done inner child work, connect to your inner child or a younger version of you that is just trying her best or his best, and to speak to them what they needed to hear. You may have been criticized deeply as from a parent or a sibling when you did something wrong. And that would be the voice that's chiming in a way to prevent you from feeling shame. But it shames you to prevent shame, which sounds crazy, but we do this to ourselves. And so it is a muscle, it is a practice. And to be gentle with yourself if you do criticize yourself. It's not shame yourself for falling into that spiral, but it's just breathing slowly, coming back to, there's a part of us that's known or called the higher S, capital S self. This is the compassionate, loving, caring, curious part of ourselves that is nurturing. And we all have that within us. And then these other parts can take over. And so noticing when a part takes over, whether that's a binge part, the part of you that may binge and want to numb out from feeling uncomfortable emotions, or it's stressed and really wants to use food. And then there's the parts that criticize or perfectionist parts. And to notice when those come online and to start being the observer of those. And then using practices to come back to self, the mother or the father of yourself, reparenting, the parent that you needed, or the parent that inner child needs right now, and speak to yourself like that. And to get back to that place, because sometimes it can just be we just get sucked into these other parts. Things like breath work, things like meditation, getting out in nature, and really honestly, just holding yourself, slow everything down. And talk to someone if you need to and let yourself express. That's also really helpful. But from this video, I just hope you take away to start practicing that self-compassion, focusing also on things that you're doing well. So many of us, including myself, focus on the things that weren't perfect, where we could have done better or didn't do our best. And it's wow, my first question with all my clients is, what went well this week? And a lot of times they want to snap back into what didn't go well. And it's no, what went well? And when you start focusing on that, you start to cheerlead yourself. Then throughout the day, you're looking for things that you're doing well. Or you're proactive, you're wanting to do things that you're doing well because you're going to acknowledge them later. And it makes such a difference, and it sounds like such a simple thing, but this is how we start building self-confidence. This is how we start building pride in ourselves, trust with ourselves, especially when we commit to something and we follow through with it. And so baby steps, but just like start acknowledging yourself for things. Even like before this video, before you go back to doing something else, write 3 things down, or just to close your eyes and think of 3 things that you were proud of yourself for today. And notice your energy shift. And if your mind starts to wander to the things that aren't perfect, or you say something you did well and it's like, well, I didn't do it that great. Like, catch that and acknowledge yourself as if this is your best friend that just did that thing. And how would you encourage her or him? All right, I love you guys so much. Big breaths, and you're doing awesome. Keep going. And if you need help, my name is Ellie. If you don't already know, you can connect with me on Instagram at Mindfulbellie, or schedule a strategy session with me at calendly.com/mindfulbellie. I also have a podcast called Don't Eat Your Feelings with Mindfulbellie. I would love it if you liked and subscribed to his channel if you feel like you're getting value from this content. And until next time, you're doing awesome. Keep going. Bye.